not saying you're supposed to be trapped at home chained to your sewing machine or whatever. And I don't think anybody would ever say that that's not a super important job, raising the next generation. I cried in my car. I felt so guilty. I was like, it was just a big step for me. In fact, I had a lady who told me I was oppressed. I encourage you to think creatively about the possibilities of making that happen. Hey, it's another day and welcome back to my channel. I'm Megan Fox and today we're gonna do another multitask with me. If you've been around for a while, you know this is kind of a series on my channel and it's just a time for us to chat about some things that have been on my mind, your mind, and we can also get something done together. So grab a task. Of course, as soon as I start filming, what is groaning? Okay, it stopped. Anyway, I'm in my kitchen here today and I am going to be making homemade ice pops for my kids. I have a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old and I'm pregnant with baby number 3. And I was watching one of Adeline Zook's food prep videos and she was making homemade ice pops and I just had to try it. I feel like they have to be at least a little bit healthier and I don't know, they just seem like fun and really pretty at the end too. So I ordered these little Ziploc bags off of Amazon. They have, yeah, like I said, a little zip at the top. And basically I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna make 3 kinds of ice pops. Right here I have my strawberry banana mixture and I'm gonna make 2 more kinds yet today as well. And so it's gonna take a long time to fill each of these and so I thought we could chat while I did that. They kindly sent a funnel along, so we'll see if this works. I have a feeling it's gonna be slightly tedious, but I have a lot of things I wanna talk about today. So let's get started. Okay, that is not working. I think I'm gonna add some more milk to this to make it better. Okay, I just did some experimenting and I think I have this figured out. I think we can chat and do this at the same time. There's just some lumps in my batter, I guess we'll call it. So I just have to be careful that I don't let them clog up my tube. But anyway, just some quick housekeeping tips. My dress, if you're wondering, is from Mountaineer Boutique. I think I got it like a year ago. I'm sure they don't have it anymore, but she has so many cute dresses, a lot of them very modest. And so I definitely think you should check out Mountaineer Boutique on Instagram or their website. And if you're new to my channel, just a quick background. I was a very reluctant mom. I had been teaching school for years and I loved it. And I didn't really have any drive to be a stay-at-home mom, but I knew I didn't want to be lonely. I knew I wanted it at some point, but I just never had that like mothering feeling or instinct of like wanting to stay home and raise babies. I just thought that that's like a waste of my talents. I didn't want to be wiping noses and doing laundry all day long. And that's just kind of my attitude I had, which, surprise, surprise, I'm so thankful for my children. I just love it. I love being a stay-at-home mom, but I'm also a work-from-home mom. And I've just been getting so many DMs from everybody, from people from all kinds of backgrounds. I love it. But like some of them are completely stay-at-home moms, some of them are work-away moms, some of them are work-from-home moms like me. And everybody's views on what motherhood should look like is so different. I think a lot of times we can be very attacking of people who do motherhood differently than we do. And I just decided I wanted to share my thoughts, my opinions, even some of the things that I've been learning looking at the Bible and what God has to say about a woman's place. And it's gonna be interesting because I'm a Mennonite, I grew up Mennonite, and we have a very specific kind of culture. I was not told that I needed to be a stay-at-home mom when I grew up, but I think I was exemplified that a lot by the women in my life, that children are a blessing from the Lord. They're not just something to get over with. They are truly what life is all about, passing on to the next generation and pouring our heart and soul into them. And I don't think I was ever told that in so many words, but I was shown that by example. And I know a lot of you have not grown up that way, but I think that's something very beautiful about my culture, that I don't have this real pressure to work away from home. I can stay at home, and that's a real privilege, a real blessing that I have. But I know a lot of you out there maybe come from the complete opposite side, where you get your degree, you maybe have 1 or 2 kids, and then you go back to work again, and you make money, and you have somebody else, you know, watch your kids during the day, and you kind of are a mom in the evenings. And then there's people like me who try to have it all, and we try to work from home and be also a stay-at-home mom. And I think no matter what place you find yourself, it's hard to juggle everything. And I think sometimes women can be so attacking of each other, and they can look at people that do momming differently, and they can say, well, if she's right, then I must be wrong, but I think I'm right, so therefore she's wrong. And that is a very dangerous place to be in. I call it like the mommy wars, and I've heard or felt some of those opinions in my DMs and in YouTube comments and stuff. In fact, I had a lady who told me I was oppressed because I was never taught that I could be anything except a mom. And I don't agree with that, but I do think it is very beautiful that our culture values motherhood, you know, a lot. It hasn't lost all of its use to like the whole feminist movement and stuff like that. Not saying that every single thing with feminism is wrong, but I do disagree with most of it, just from like the attitude and the standpoint they're coming from. But we can talk about that more in the video. Like I said, I've even been digging into the Bible a little bit to find out my place, because I think it all comes down to we're all trying to find the right balance. We're all just trying to get our priorities in order. We don't want to get to the end of our life and have regrets. And I think it's important that we truly think about how we're spending our time and what our goals are in life and being intentional about everything. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. Okay, so I need to put these in the freezer and get started on my next popsicles. These are strawberry banana popsicles. Basically what I did was I took my smoothie recipe and doubled it. It just takes basic ingredients like yogurt, milk, honey, some lemon juice to make the flavors pop, and then whatever fruit you want. And I chose to get the Walmart bag of strawberries and bananas because I thought that would be a pretty color, and then also, you know, a different flavor. Strawberry banana is just so good cold, I feel, so I think my kids will like these. So I will put the recipe down below, and just it makes about 8 ice pops if you get the bags that I got off of Amazon. And now I'm gonna get some chocolate pudding pops made next, and then we will come meet back here and yeah, delve into some of those topics that I just hinted about a little bit ago. Okay, the sun just came out, and so it was I was getting really backlit, so I just changed the angle a little bit. I'm excited for these. They are like such a puddingy consistency. I think they're gonna be amazing. I will put the directions down below again if you'd like to make any of these, but you don't need these fancy tubes for them if you don't want to. I just find that anything on a stick my kids make a royal mess with. Like I said, they're only 3 and 2, so what do you expect? So I love that these are completely mess free. You can just snip off the top and they are good to go. And I kind of think I'm going to be eating some of these. I love chocolate pudding pops, so they better share. Anyway, back to our discussion. So I just felt like I was hearing so many voices, and I decided I need to look into this for myself because I was feeling a little bit conflicted. I thought I had found kind of a healthy balance, but at the same time, I wanted to be sure. So I went to the Bible, I listened to some podcasts, and a kind of idea that circles among the Mennonites is that men are supposed to be at work and women are supposed to be keepers at home and stay at home and raise the children and do the canning and make the food from scratch, and that's that. You have to remember though that the choice to possibly like work from home or work at all has been like a new problem to have. Back in the day, you know, women were traditionally just too busy to do the laundry and to cook and to survive to even think about having, you know, a side job. And then if they did go get a side job, you know, they weren't going to get paid as much, or they might not even be able to find a job. So it's relatively like a new option for us to have. And I think it's a great option for some people, but not for everyone, okay? So the idea of a woman being a keeper at home, I was like, is that really what the Bible says? Because Proverbs 31 talks about a virtuous woman and how she has businesses and she looks after the affairs of her house, but she also plants fields and buys vineyards, and like, you have to read it. It's so many things she does. She's very industrious. She actually has employees. Yeah, this lady is crazy. She does it all. Now, I had to come to kind of the conclusion that this woman probably didn't do all those things all in the same season of life. I don't think, I mean, unless she was like Superwoman, I think it was just more like talking about through her whole life. She did all of these things, and I think everything does have a season. Some people may have a season of time where they really only can focus on their children, and that's all they have capacity for, and that's completely fine. But back to this idea that, you know, women are supposed to be keepers at home. I looked that up, and I was amazed. I had no idea what that was actually saying. The Greek word for keepers at home is, I'll put it on the screen here, I'm not sure how to say it, but it's only used one time in the Bible, and that's in Titus. Okay, so I added more milk, so I think that will work better. But like I said, they only use this Greek word, oikoros, however you say that, in the Bible one time, and that's in Titus 2:5, where it's saying, teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, or oikoros, however you say that. And I looked up the meaning of that word, which is gonna blow your mind. It's so amazing. It says that basically that means you are the keeper, the warden, the guardian. You are watching and being aware. That's kind of what the whole word embodies. So it's not saying you're supposed to be trapped at home, chained to your sewing machine or whatever. You are to be a watcher of your home, to guard what's coming in, and that can look different for each of us. We have to decide where we want to send our children to school, what movies we're going to allow into our home, what media influences, how much media influence, what neighbor kids can come over or can't, sleepovers, stuff like that. It all comes down to guarding our home and being keepers of our home, I guess is maybe a better way of saying it. And I had no idea that that's what that meant in context. I still think the principle of a woman taking care of her children and stuff is found out all throughout the Bible. I'm not trying to explain that away, that women are, it just makes sense. I think it's kind of intuitive. Not that there can't be stay-at-home dads, but moms have special gifts and skills that men can't necessarily do. For one, we can feed our kids when they're newborns. We sometimes have more of like a nurturing spirit, although I'm not super nurturing myself. But yeah, I just thought that was, whoa. I just thought that was so neat. So I feel like we can all be keepers of our home, whether we do, have a side hustle or not. And I think that can get very dangerous, and it gets me very angry when I see this whole mommy wars of people bashing each other back and forth just because somebody chooses to have a side hustle or to work away some hours or, whatever. I think that's just, us having the idea that, oh, well, if what they're doing is okay, then what I'm doing must be wrong. And that's not true. We can all, God has given us all so many different life situations. He's given us different capacities for things, given us different energy levels, given us different circumstances, different children that we're working with, different husbands. It's very important that whatever you do, your husband is on board as well. Because whatever you do, whether you're just a stay-at-home mom, haha, or working away, having a side hustle, you're gonna need your husband's support no matter what. And so I think it's very important that you're both on the same page. And I know I want to acknowledge that there's moms out there that would probably love to have a side hustle, but they might have a health issue or a child with special needs, or it's just not the season of life at the moment for you, but it doesn't mean it couldn't change at some point. I feel like my thoughts are a little scattered here, but there's so many things I've been learning and I just wanted to share them. But anyway, I just wanted to say that if you see a woman who's doing momming a little bit differently than you, don't feel attacked. It doesn't mean that what you're doing is wrong necessarily. But we all do need to hold ourselves accountable that we are the best moms that we can be in our circumstances that we have. And I also wanted to speak for the idea that I see floating around that, oh, well, if a mom has a side hustle or something, she's letting the ball drop in other areas. Her kids are suffering. And that is not necessarily true. Like I said, we all have different capacities, different skills. I personally believe that no woman is 100% fulfilled just being a mom. Nobody can work 24/7 around the clock. We all need breaks. Some of us, that might look like reading a book or taking a walk or going shopping by yourself, something like that. For others of us, we might like to have business endeavors. It doesn't mean we all have to do the same thing. So don't judge another mom for doing it a little bit differently, than you've decided to do. And sure, there are moms that have unhealthy work-life balances, that their kids are on the back burner. They are, maybe sitting in front of the screen too much and stuff. But there's also, there is moms that work away from home and they'd love to be with their kids more, be more hands-on and stuff. So I feel like you can be a good mom in any state that you choose to, live your life. You just have to be intentional about it. You just have to do your best. A stay-at-home mom who sits around on the sofa with her phone in her hand all day long and is sidetracked from her kids, she's not doing any better of a job than a mom who's off making money and her kids are at a daycare. Actually, she's probably doing a worse job because she's also not, adding anything to the world by just sitting there consuming media on her phone or whatever. So I hope I'm not stepping on anybody's toes too much or anything, but it's just something to think about. And I know we're all trying to be intentional, good moms, right? But I think sometimes it's good to just have a little reminder again. And I'd love to hear from you guys. What are you thinking? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Where do you fall on the spectrum? Do you think you can be a good mom, even if you have a side hustle or a career outside the home? I did want to circle back. I know I'm jumping back and forth from the different sides, but these are just my different viewpoints and things I've heard and seen. I did want to say that I do think the world has put this horrible idea into a lot of younger girls' heads. I don't know if that was my head too. Is that why I didn't want to be a mom? I don't know, but I know there's some younger ones watching that are thinking about starting, a family, or maybe are waiting for that to happen. They have this whole idea out there that children are a bother, there's something to get over with and then get back to the real thing at hand. That is not true. Children are the next generation, and I don't think anybody would ever say that that's not a super important job. Raising the next generation, so much that goes into raising a human being to be, you know, a good human being, a asset to the community, and the weight of that is not lost on me. It makes me nervous sometimes. It makes me like really, it makes me be very intentional and think twice about how I parent, or, you know, what I stand for, what my kids see. Another thing I wanted to point out, talking about the whole like kids being a part of, you know, a good citizen and a part of the community and worthwhile human beings when they grow up. We need all types of different people to make the world go round, and those people are raised by all different kinds of moms that make the world go round. Think about it. So a child who gets undivided attention from their mother, their mom's always, you know, staying home with the kids, she's making, you know, healthy, pretty packed lunches, she's doing all the arts and crafts, the play dates, she's very involved, hands-on. You know, those kids are obviously getting a lot of benefits from having a mom that's there with them all the time and really taking her job seriously, pouring everything she's got into it. But then there might be some negatives to that too. They might feel like an overinflated sense of importance. They might not play very well by themselves because they always have their mom right there at their beck and call. Yeah, there's pros and cons to that lifestyle. But then also, if you have a side hustle, your kids are getting other benefits. I felt really guilty the first day I paid my sister to come watch my children so I could edit a YouTube video. I was getting just really busy with Fox Sparrow getting launched. That's my brand that I have on my website, meganfoxunlocked.com. It's a lot of handmade products, and it was a lot of work getting that launched and started. And I just knew I needed some help because I was not being a good mom and I was not being a good businesswoman, and it was just too much. I was not balancing it well. I was not a good wife because I was always stressed out. And so Josh suggested that I have my sister come over and, you know, have a little side job for her. She can help with the kids, make some money on the side, clean my house for me and stuff. And it's been working wonderful. But that first time I had her come over, I cried in my car. I felt so guilty. I was like, it was just a big step for me. And if you're feeling guilt, it's like, I think I heard Catherine Boberg say it from Now That I'm a Mother. If you're feeling guilt, it could be from God or it could be from Satan, and you have to think about that, because if we're not feeling comfortable with our decisions, sometimes that is God telling us that we have a wrong balance, but sometimes it's also Satan trying to, you know, stop us from doing what we're called to do. So it's very important that we really test the spirit and see where that's coming from. But anyway, I did feel super guilty at first, but then someone from my church told me that, you know what, it is good for your kids to see you working, to have something on your plate that's not just menial tasks, to see you doing something that makes you happy and makes you thrive, and they just see you being good at something. That's good for any kid to see their mom like that. She was saying, you know, my kids came to work with me, and I think she had like a retail store or something. She's like, my kids came to work with me, and, you know, they learned right alongside of me. And so there are definite upsides to also having a mom who works. Children who have a mom who works, they learn to be very independent a lot of times. They learn to play by themselves, to have an imagination, to occupy themselves. They learn to maybe do chores quicker and stuff because their mom might place more responsibility on them sooner. There's just a whole host of benefits that she told me that, you know, it can be good for your kids. And I'm like, oh, that makes me feel so much better. But then there's also the other side of the ditch as well, where, you know, if we're neglecting our children too much and having them, you know, free range raise themselves, there's another danger in that as well. And so you have to be careful no matter what lifestyle you are choosing to live for yourself right now. So many big thoughts, so many big ideas, and the thing is, they're really important. Okay, I just mixed up the vanilla pudding pops, but back to that thought. It's like I was telling someone in a DM, we were discussing this very topic, and I said, you know, balance. It's such a bogus word. We're never truly gonna have balance. It really comes down to like being on a seesaw, and literally if you're trying to get your balance, you're always adjusting. You're always readjusting. Life throws things at you. Different circumstances come up. You might have another child. You might have a job opportunity come up. You know, so many different things, and we're constantly trying to find that balance, and we'll never be there. And I think it's important. It took me a long time to realize this. You're never gonna have it. You have to constantly, like I said, be readjusting. And I think you will know when it's time to make a change. You're gonna feel stressed out or maybe bored on the other side of things. You could just be feeling a nudge towards a certain thing. For me, sometimes you just have to step out in faith. Like to have our first baby, I wasn't going on feelings. I just went on I just kind of had a nudge. I knew like it was time to at least see if it was a possibility for us to start a family. And I'm so glad. I've never looked back. I've loved it ever since. So what is the point of this video, you might wonder? And I think it's just a lot of processing out loud with you guys. I'm sure a lot of you have had some of the same thoughts over the years, or maybe even are struggling the same thing. But I guess my encouragement to you is to keep reading the Bible, read it in context, see what God has to say about women. I've been reading through the Bible in a year, and you know, the Old Testament is full of so many different women, good and bad. And I know when we get to the New Testament, we're really gonna see Jesus' heart for women, you know, with the woman at the well, and some of his friends, Mary, Martha, you know, all that stuff. And I'm just so glad God knows our hearts. He can speak to us through different circumstances, through people. And so, yeah, I just challenge you to be intentional. I said that 100 times, and to just find the place that works for you in this position. And then when you found that, be happy for yourself, but then be happy for others who are maybe in a different place. And it doesn't mean that other women all have it all right. Like, some people do maybe have too much on their plate, and you know, maybe that's God nudging you to help them out or to find a way to encourage them. But don't have this whole mommy war going of, well, if you choose to have a side hustle or a career, then you're wrong because your kids are suffering. Just remember that everybody has different talents, different capacities, different life circumstances, and so what's right for them might not be right for you. And then last of all, if you are a stay-at-home mom and you are feeling a nudge to maybe do something else as well, pray about it, think about it, talk to your husband about it, look into it, see if it is even a possibility. That's kind of how my whole YouTube channel started, and just make sure you have his support if you decide to move forward with that. And then on the other side, if you are a working mom who feels kind of a nudge, you know, you would love to stay home, you would like to be a stay-at-home mom or work from home mom more so than a career woman, I highly encourage you to look into that. Think creatively about it, see your options. Maybe you can have, there's so many videos on YouTube of ways to cut down on your spending and your lifestyle. You know, it does take sacrifices to be a stay-at-home mom, and I didn't really talk on that a ton. As a Mennonite culture, with so many moms being stay-at-home moms, it still seems like it works out. Somehow we make ends meet, find ways to make it happen when you truly want something. And so if that's what you are kind of thinking about and dreaming of, I encourage you to think creatively about the possibilities of making that happen. You'll never regret the time you put into your children and the next generation. And so I wanted to preface everything, or epilogue everything, I guess this is at the end of the video, by saying that I am 28. I am still learning so much about this big topic, and I reserve the right to change my mind. I welcome discussion in the comments, and I would love to hear from you. Are you a mom yet? Would you like to be? Are you a working mom, a stay-at-home mom, or somewhere in the middle like me, and you try to do both and balance it all? I would love to hear that from you guys, and any words of wisdom you have for somebody else, ways that you've found that you can make it work. Yeah, I just love this community. I love how we can, you know, speak into each other's lives and be positive. For the most part, you guys are super, super helpful and kind in the comments. And yeah, I think this is a topic that we could never fully exhaust. We could keep talking about it, and I hope this video hit you in some way, either encouraged you with what you are doing or gave you a nudge to do maybe a little bit of a change to get that balance a little bit better. Looks like some of these are really messy. I am going to rinse them off before I throw these in the freezer. And don't forget, all these recipes are down below in the description box. Subscribe if you find yourself keep coming back again, and also hit that thumbs up button if you like more podcasty, chatty videos like this. And I'll see you all in next week's video, where hopefully I can finally show you my office. I'm so excited, and we're gonna do some sewing together. So yeah, it's gonna be a good one. I'll see you all then. Bye everyone.